Hi, so in this lesson we are going to talk about the syntax of defining and calling functions. So to define a function, you need to use the following syntax that starts with a keyword that's defined, def, and it's followed by function name, parenthesis, parameter inside the parenthesis, and do something to the parameters, and then there's an optional return. So the number of parameter, can from 0 to any. So it's from not putting any parameters to put a lot of parameters. And the number of return can be from zero return to a lot of returns. So how to call a function? So to call a function, we call the function by function name, followed by a parenthesis, and in which we input the argument. So let's see the following examples here. So I defined three functions. So the first function is called, the function name is print hello, and what it does is it print hello world in the console. And the second function I define is print hello number. So there's one input parameter I, so it will print hello and put this I in here. Then the third function is a multiple parameters with multiple return. So I also make it not multiple returns. So the third one is a function with only one return, and the fourth function is a function with three returns. So let's try to see how we call those functions. We first define the functions. So I run this out here. Then we can call the functions by calling it by function names. So let's run the second cell. So in the first, it print hello. So it print out hello here. And the second one, it print the hello number. So it will input the number 100 into this place. And the third function, I call it by, and I use a print function and use a print. So to use, why we need to return a number. So in those functions, there's no return. But if I write the summation I want, equals to, so if I use this, if I call this function here, like for example, I want to add 1 and 4, and then this function here return the result, and I can assign this result to a variable I want. So let's run this again. Okay, so it only print, so only the first two functions print out the result, and the third function, it calculates the result in the sum AB and assign this result to this variable. So we can see that here we can get this variable here, and the value is become 5. So this is how we define and call function, and we can use from 0 to any numbers of parameters and from 0 to any of the returns. And for other details, so the first thing is about default parameter values. So if we want to, like, sometimes we can use a default parameter values here. So the syntax is like that. If I use an equal sign here and assign a default value here. So most of you are from Canada, right? So, and if you define a function like that, I run this cell here, and then you just you just call the function without input a parameter. If you just I run it again or run it, so it print out I'm from Canada. So you can call this by does not input parameter. So if you are like, for me, I'm from China, so I can input a parameter which is not the default parameter. So this parameter will be assigned to here, so this value will be assigned to this parameter. So it will print out I'm from China. So this is how we use default parameter to define our function. So this is just other detail. So the most important part of this course, today's course, is about the syntax of defining a function and the syntax of call a function, and you should know how to use return.